Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to part 2 of our SAG Awards Red Carpet Fashion Edition. Let's just jump right in where we left off. This beautiful silvery column gown here is a great example of strapless done right. As you can see, we don't have boob spillage. It doesn't look like it's falling down. It's not squashing her to bits. This is very nice. It fits her perfectly. I'm not a huge fan of the swirl there on her right hip, but I'll take it. It looks beautiful. Michelle Williams looks really nice in her pale pink Prada dress. I like the embroidery and the light texture of this dress. It looks really, really beautiful and comfortable, but I'm not loving the contrast of this really straight across neckline and the slightly awkward placement of the waistline and that little bit of volume there to create the shape. I feel like those aren't getting along super nicely. I think this would have been more beautiful with a more curved and softer neckline. Would have kind of helped this dress along a little bit more because it just feels a little out of place, that really angular neckline and slightly awkward waist volume situation. Charlie Hunnam's blue suit looks really, really nice. I quite like this. No notes. That looks really nice. Parker Posey's Gucci dress, though, looks like a dressing gown. It really does. It looks like one of those fun dressing gowns that would be so fun to have, but not for the red carpet. I like the color on her, though, and I like that she has fun with her fashion. She never takes anything too seriously when it comes to the outfits she chooses to wear. She goes for drama. So that suits her and stuff, but it also, just looking at it as a piece on its own, looks a little casual for the Actor Awards. It's supposed to be, almost as big of a deal as the Oscars. Wearing vintage Saint Laurent, we have Sarah Paulson here. I think it's just okay. I feel like the drop skirt volume is a little heavy. It's just a little heavy in my opinion. I think it's just okay. I also am not a huge fan of those super pointed dramatic toed shoes. Overall, I think this one's just coming off a little bit awkward, but it is fun and it does suit her personality. It's definitely not the worst I've ever seen. Michelle Monaghan in a Prada dress here is looking beautiful, but I really don't love the skirt. I feel like the difference and the high contrast between the top and the skirt aren't fully getting along. I think that it's just too different of vibes. Maybe what the real problem is that it's like paneling. It looks like a quilt, a quilted effect across the skirt there. That's really what I don't like, I think. It's too busy and looks a little crafty. You know what I mean? It's taking away from the dress because that top, it's constructed so perfectly and beautifully and it's fitting her wonderfully and it looks so elegant. And then the bottom looks like a quilt that looks inexpensive and more homemade, sort of, I guess. So I think if it were all just one fabric or something like that, it would be better. I don't know. I just think this one didn't quite land. I like Sarah Catherine Hook's beautiful purple dress. We don't see deep, rich color like this as often on the red carpet these recent years, but I don't like the blue opera gloves. I can see if she had worn statement jewelry in that lighter blue shade, like a very eye-catching necklace to tie it in, that could have worked. But with nothing really tying in that shade of blue, while they do go together, I feel like they look incongruous. But the overall dress itself and the construction of the dress is so flattering for her figure and so beautifully done. I love the dress. Chase Sui Wonders is wearing Miss She, and I like this. I feel like it reminds me of Zendaya's dress that had a similar pattern on it, similar embroidery on it a few years ago. This is very beautiful. It looks like it fits her perfectly. I like this one. But I do not like this one. Hannah Einbinder's dress, the black part's okay. It's got texture, it's got some shine or sparkle to the fabric. It fits her really nicely and it's a nice dress. But this weird satiny cape attached to the back looks like an afterthought. It doesn't tie into the dress itself at all, and I don't like it. And it looks kind of wrinkly and cheap and messy. Without that, I think it would be totally fine on its own. Viola Davis's Gucci dress, I like, but I hate the off-the-shoulder element. This off-the-shoulder situation is making it look ill-fitting, unfortunately. If it had just been redone to actually come up onto her shoulders, I think it would have been a lot more flattering for her. I like Jean Smart's choice here. This is flattering. It's nice. It's a little bit top heavy, so if there was a little bit of volume in the skirt, it would have balanced her figure out more and been even more flattering to her. This is a miss for me with Kirsten Dunst. This Coty dress, I hate. I hate the two different fabrics here look like mismatched. The spaghetti strap situation looks cheap and like it doesn't belong. It's ill-fitting around her bust. What is happening? This is terrible. Worst dressed of the bunch so far. My gosh, that's awful. Michelle Randolph's dress is quite nice, but as you can see, the bubble hem is a little messy and a little heavy. It's visually very heavy to have a bubble hem, but also you can see that it's not really fitting her waistline very nicely. It's either that it's not fitted long enough, so they're kind of shortening her waist and adding the skirt volume too high, or it's just too much volume starting too high. Or it could be too loose, perhaps. I don't know. But it's unfortunately not very well fitted to her and not very flattering to her figure. If it had been and had a slightly lower point at which the skirt volume began, then the bubble hem weight would have been less impactful and less overwhelming for sure. Isa Gonzalez's Giorgio Armani dress is quite nice and well done, and she's wearing it well, but unfortunately, it's not the best pairing for her. She has a pear body type. So she needs something that has a little bit more volume or visual weight to the shoulder line to help balance her hip line. As you can see here, the hip line just ends up grabbing your eye, and that's where your eyes rest and stay. And it's making her hip line look wider with those horizontal stripes or banding. And that's only exacerbated by how skinny the hemline of the dress gets. It's very, very skinny at the bottom. So if this had more going on up here, or even if she had opera gloves or something, maybe a bolero, I don't know, or a boa, it would have helped. Or just a different dress that had something more visually dominating up here to just add a little visual weight to balance her hip line. Regina Hall's Kong tree piece is really, really beautiful here. This is awesome. I really like this, but I wish she would have done an updo. It's a little bit overwhelming on her. It looks like there's too much room in the sleeve, like there's too much length in the sleeve. And it also would have been more flattering for her for that peplum to start just maybe an inch lower. It would have elongated her waistline a little better and not kind of eaten everything up. But I love the idea of this. It just needed a little bit of tweaking and an updo to reach its full potential, we shall say. Kristen Bell is also in yet another kind of silvery piece. I guess there's just a lot. We're going from tan to silvers now. So much silver. I think this is innovative and different, and so I like it for that. But I feel like these silvery gray satin pieces look so heavy, and like they're just holding up this train that it just doesn't vibe together well enough. I wish that this had a little bit more satin incorporated, or not such a huge difference between the sheer fabric with the sparkles on it and this heavy, thick satin. I mean, satin is quite the heavy fabric. And then together, I can see where this was headed, and it's quite nice idea, but it doesn't marry together quite well enough, I don't feel. I think that this has wonderful potential, but needs a little bit of reworking to really create a cohesive design that doesn't look like these satin silver pieces were stuck on afterwards. Like, they don't even really look like they were part of the original design of the dress, quite frankly. As for her figure, though, they do add a little bit of visual weight to her hip, and that's helpful for her to bring a little bit of balance, and it creates the illusion of more waist definition, which is flattering in that regard. Kathryn Hahn looks like she's wearing a pool floaty. You know, one of those things that you put around your waist, like, or a toddler's waist, so they don't, so they can float better in the pool. That's what it looks like. This pink thing has got to go. It's a mess. It looks out of place. I don't know what she was thinking. It's ridiculous. It's ugly. It needs to leave. I do not like Mindy Kaling's attempt at a sheer dress here either. Again, I feel the black structural pieces to this are a little too stiff in comparison to the sheer dress. I don't like the way the black embellishments are placed the way they are. I know they're placed there to provide coverage, but I would prefer there to just be some coverage there because it just doesn't look that flattering visually. I do, however, think the silhouette with the peplum is perfect for her because she could use a little bit of that peplum around the hip to help further enhance her waistline and create a more flattering silhouette. And I like the opera gloves, and I think her makeup looks really nice. But yeah, overall it ended up flattening her chest with this sort of strange square panel, and it's just not the most flattering placement for the embellishments. Not loving it. Carrie Russell looks like she's in a flamingo stance here in this Louis Vuitton dress. Her foot is just vanished behind this front train panel. I don't love a front train. I think that looks a little silly. I like the dress otherwise, though. The asymmetry of it is very flattering for her. Ali Larder's Zuhair Murad dress is a beautiful color on her. Wow, her hair and makeup are just gorgeous with this. The jewelry's a little heavy. The dress does look like it might be falling down just a tad on the bust line, so I wish it had a slightly higher cup for her. But I don't love how little volume it has throughout the skirt. As you can see, her widest point is her shoulder line here, so she's an inverted triangle body shape. So something that adds visual weight or volume to the skirt is going to be the most flattering on her always. So here where this draping is, if it just had a skirt actually come out and have a little volume to it, maybe even with a little bit of a slit, it would have been perfectly balancing for her body type and flattered her so much more. So this had great potential, but needed a different necklace and a little more volume to flatter her the most. Beautiful dress in general, though, and beautiful color on her. Wow. Out of these, I would say my favorite overall look has got to be Chase Sui Wonders because everything about it was perfect. It was a beautiful dress. It suited her body type well. Her styling was nice, and it looked like it fit her really, really well. So it hit all the marks. Some of these just had issue with the fit or, balancing your silhouette best. Some of them just were a little awkward or not done well. But that one I would say is my absolute favorite from this bunch. What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining me for this fashion edition. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye!